You're listening to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM. During the next hour, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Good morning. Welcome to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM. Father Greg Sakowicz, the rector of Holy Name Cathedral, and co-host Mark Teresi, executive director of the cathedral. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good morning, Father Greg, with a new hip.
With a brand new hip. I want to thank all the listeners for their prayers and cards and good wishes. Surgery was 3 weeks ago today, and the doctor and his team did a fabulous job at Northwestern, and I'm still in recovery mode, but still have to take it slow, very slow, and whatever, God forbid I can't fall. And
so I don't know if our listeners, you probably would know this knowing Father Greg. He's in the recovery room. I get a text. He said, surgery successful. I am now 6'3".
Now 6'3", and ready to go back to work.
Yeah.
Our phone number 312-255-8408. Do you realize, Mark, 54 years ago yesterday, the great blizzard of 67
Wow.
ended. It started on the 26th in the morning, ended on the 27th, the largest snowfall in the history of Chicago, 23.2 inches. I was 13 years old. You were probably about 11 at the time.
I think 7th grade.
And I was in 8th grade.
Oh, sorry, I was 6th grade.
In 6th grade, and so how quickly the years have gone by. Again, 312-255-8408.
One little memory of that. I remember walking down in the middle of Diversey Parkway, to get a gallon of milk and a loaf of bread because all the shelves were just about empty, but no traffic. We were as a kid, to walk in the middle of Diversey Avenue. Oh my God, it was, and to play in that snow all the time.
And I had the same thing in Park Ridge on that Saturday morning, which would have been, I think today. My father, with my siblings, we walked down Cumberland south toward Higgins to get to the Kroger. Not one car in the middle of the street. It was the coolest thing. Again, 312-255-8408 here on Catholic Chicago, WNDZ. We have a tremendous program lined up. Maryknoll Fathers and Brothers. Guests, Deacon Kevin McCarthy, team leader, teacher, catechist for the outreach, and Walter Hidalgo, mission educator, specialist, promoter. And really the topic is, what is Maryknoll? So to Deacon Kevin and to Walter, good morning, gentlemen. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Father Greg and Mark. It's a pleasure to be with you and all your listeners in the Chicago area.
And I forgot to tell everybody we are live streaming.
Yes.
So we'll wave to the camera.
With masks.
We're on WNDZ. We're socially distancing, wearing masks. And so maybe for a moment, Deacon Kevin McCarthy, what parish are you connected with, Kevin?
I live in Springfield, Massachusetts, and I am at Blessed Sacrament All Souls Parish here in Springfield.
And ordained a deacon in what year?
It'll be 10 years this May.
10 years in May? Okay, so you're a veteran.
Yeah.
And Walter, where are you calling from?
I am calling from the lovely state of New York, Austining to be specific. I'm actually approximately 10 minutes from the center, the Maryknoll Fathers and Brothers, the Maryknoll.
Now, were both of you hit a couple of weeks ago with severe snow, like to the tune of 1 or 2 feet? That big storm?
No is the short answer.
Good.
In Chicago, we were hearing about this big storm out east where Boston got about 1.5 feet. New York got about 12 inches. And maybe it was more like upstate New York, but I just thought the East Coast was getting pounded. But maybe, first of all, either Kevin or Walter, first of all, Maryknoll has done tremendous work for years worldwide. Maybe either one of you, what is Maryknoll?
Maryknoll was founded, 1911 as the Catholic Foreign Mission Society of America to send priests and brothers to work in countries around the world. Currently, we're working in some 21 countries in Africa, Asia, Latin America. And actually, we have our House of Formation right there in Chicago. Young men who want to come and be priests and brothers, or young women who want to come and be Maryknoll sisters, study there at CTU. Mm-hmm. And then part of their formation, besides studying philosophy, theology, is they also do a couple years in one of the countries where we work. Currently, we're sending our men down to Cochabamba, Bolivia, for 2 years as a part of their training. So we go and work with some of the poorest people in the world, to bring the good news of the gospel, and also, to bring economic relief through a whole variety of programs that we help to provide in the various countries.
Now, you also do work in the United States, don't you? I remember in high school and college, we went on mission trips. I don't know if you still do, because that was a while ago, but we went to Appalachia working with the poor. Does the Maryknoll still have missions here, too?
Yeah, actually, we do lots of work in the United States. We do, and to mention the mission or immersion trips, we have a variety of those. I mean, pre-COVID, and hopefully maybe by this summer we'll get back to them. So like Walter and I have brought people, to Guatemala,
Mm-hmm.
El Salvador. We do have trips like every other year to a country in Asia or Africa. We also bring people down to the border, El Paso, Texas, and Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, understand some of the border issues. So we do still have a variety of immersion trips. And then also here in the U.S., we do mission education programs, retreats, parish missions, and then we have resources for Catholic catechists and teachers. And maybe Walter would want to speak about that.
Yeah, we have also, as an extension of the experience of an immersion trip, we try to bring that to life in the classroom through our Discover Your Neighbor program. And, Deacon Kevin and I are just really extensions of that Maryknoll spirit of being a missionary disciple. So what does that mean? What does that look like? And most importantly, how can we act out on that spirit, both locally but also internationally?
Ironically, when I was at Notre Dame High School College Prep class of 1971 and decided to become a priest, I remember the three groups I looked at was the Jesuits, looked at Holy Cross, I take it back, 4 Franciscans, and Maryknoll. Mm. I thought that was very fascinating. I decided to stay in the Archdiocese of Chicago as a diocesan priest, which I certainly have no regrets, but I've always been fascinated by the great work of Maryknoll. We're going to continue this discussion, but Mark, take us to break.
WNDZ, 750 AM, Catholic Chicago here on your dial. 312-255-8408. We will be back in a few minutes and continue our discussion with Deacon Kevin McCarthy and with Walter Hidalgo about the Maryknoll missionaries and the wonderful work they do, not only here but around the world. We'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
It's a new year. Many of us are making goals, trying to stay healthy, and planning for ways to make the most of every day during and after the pandemic. At Catholic Charities, we continue to meet people who are struggling to meet their basic needs, like housing, food, and stability in their lives. In these challenging times, the face of need is your neighbor, and the face of hope is you. Imagine how the world would look if we all saw each other as neighbors. Learn more at CatholicCharities.net.
Hello, I'm Cardinal Blaise Supich. I got my COVID-19 vaccination, and you should too. It took just a few seconds and was painless. The Food and Drug Administration determined the new vaccines are safe and effective, and the Holy See, as well as the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, has concluded getting the COVID-19 vaccine is an act of love of our neighbor and part of our moral responsibility for the common good. We have lived with the pandemic for many months, and I know we're all getting tired of it. Vaccination is one of the most important ways you can protect your health and the lives of those you love and help bring the pandemic under control. When it is your turn, I urge you to be vaccinated. And remember to do your part by wearing a mask, washing your hands, and watching your distance. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Catholic Charity's 20th Annual Divine Affair will be held on Saturday, January 30th, as a very special virtual event. Fantastic packages are available to make your in-home participation incredibly festive and memorable. In past years, over 400 guests have come together to sample elegant wines and the latest craft beers from over 90 vintners and brewers from around the world. Enticing raffles and special guests will help to make this 20th annual celebration extraordinary. Proceeds of Divine Affair go to Catholic Charity's self-sufficiency programs that have helped thousands of individuals gain their confidence and start on a new path towards independence. Join us for this fabulous winter event. For more information, go to CatholicCharities.net or call 847-814-3839. That's 847-814-3839. We look forward to seeing you on January 30th. Cheers!
We're back, WNDZ, 750 AM on your dial, Catholic Chicago. We're speaking with Deacon Kevin McCarthy and Walter Hidalgo, both involved in Maryknoll missionaries. How did you folks get involved?
Well, for me, I knew about Maryknoll in my youth. You know, the Maryknoll magazine used to be in many, many households across the United States. So I had gotten, Maryknoll resources over the years. And then about 4.5 years ago, I also was on a Maryknoll email list. And I was working as a school counselor at that point, and they were looking for advertising for someone to do mission education. And that's how I jumped into Maryknoll full-time.
How about you, Walter?
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a feling you were going to ask that question.
We are, Walter, we are two tough guys that ask the tough questions.
And, as I was literally prepping for this question, I thought to myself that it almost feels like every single person that falls into Maryknoll happens to come in at the Kairos moment.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was a shift. I have an education background. And I was looking for something. I was searching. And as a millennial, I think I was looking for something that can really tap into my gifts. And Maryknoll has allowed for that opportunity for me specifically. So it just fit the trajectory of my life.
Now, for Kevin and for Walter, is this full-time staff positions or is this volunteer for you?
It's full-time. It's full-time ministry or work for us. And I was going to say, Father Greg, now that you have a new hip, Maryknoll also takes what we call associate priest for 5 years.
Senior priest? Are you talking about senior priest?
We'll give you an easy assignment, okay? We'll look for an easy one for you.
Not too many hills.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Now, what about you? One of the things that you were going to talk about today is that Joy of the Gospel Lenten retreat. And I'm curious, how do people get connected to Maryknoll?
There's several ways. Certainly, the mission education website that we use is maryknoll.us, so people can look there.
So maryknoll.us.
Right.
Okay.
and that is where we have our mission education resources. They can send me an email. It's just, K as in Kevin, K McCarthy at maryknoll.org.
One more time, Kevin.
K McCarthy at maryknoll.org.
Good.
And I'd be happy.
What about a phone number?
Let's see. I got two different phone numbers. I'll give you this one: 413-374-3861.
One more time.
413-374-3861.
What about your bank account number?
You what?
I was going to say, now everyone in Chicago is going to call me and say, who is this?
Now, Walter, you said something fascinating to me. This kind of a Kairos moment, your life journey. This is where you are now. So the mission education specialist. Talk a little bit about that ministry. And I always want young people to hear how people get connected to the mission of the church. So can you just give us a little bit more about the position itself, but how did you connect?
Yeah, I think Maryknoll was undergoing a huge shift, the understanding that the power of the laity and the growing Latino population as far as its activism in the church was really necessary. So we needed to kind of remix, if you will, to use the most up-to-beat terminology as to how we present the spirit of mission. More importantly, being a missionary disciple. Youth and young adults, especially in 2012 when we saw that huge decline of participation from youth and young adults, I think Maryknoll was very clear and understood that it was time to transition and up the ante in how we do things. And one of those ways is, through our Discover Your Neighbor program and providing like a multi-sensory experience. The traditional, banking system that Paolo Freire talked about, give and take, is kind of no longer acceptable for our young people. They need a little bit more challenging. And now that we're in front of a social media sort of like wave, how do we better tap into that to do ministry and be that missionary disciple in 2021?
Maybe the question for both of you, both Kevin and Walter, is in all the work you do, how should I phrase it? What frustrates you in terms of what is the biggest myth or something not true about Maryknoll that you're always trying to correct people and say it is not this?
That's an interesting question. I don't know. Sometimes people think Maryknoll is some kind of radical group, and I would say, like any religious congregation, with many members, you have a whole range of approaches to the gospel and things, from the conservative end to the liberal end. So that's sometimes, a question I feel I have to, correct. But, Maryknollers, have been on the front lines in very difficult situations in countries throughout the world, throughout their history. We have a lot of, I think it's 13 Maryknollers who have been killed, and there were, in the past 100+ years in various places that they've worked.
Including El Salvador.
Really, yeah, right. And we just recently had the 40th anniversary of the 4 American churchwomen who were killed in El Salvador, So really people on the front lines willing to put their lives out there, So I think maybe that's one misconception that I've dealt with.
But what a wonderful testament to the Maryknolls that basically you're misunderstood by living out the tenets of the gospel.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, we're going to take a little break. We're going to be back, WNDZ, 750 AM on your dial, Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408. We'll continue our wonderful conversation with Deacon Kevin McCarthy, with Walter Hidalgo. We'll continue to learn more about Maryknoll missionaries, but also some ways that you as our listeners can connect with this vital mission. We'll be back in a few minutes.
have a gently used laptop or desktop computer that is gathering dust in your home? Consider donating to our Catholic Charities Veterans Computer Project. We will clean out your device, give it new software, and repurpose it for a veteran who is looking for employment. Your gift will make an incredible difference in a veteran's ability to find a job. Catholic Charities provides veteran services throughout Lake and suburban Cook counties, giving participants an array of professional and personal support. Our veterans have served our country, and it is our privilege to serve them. To learn more about Catholic Charities Veterans Services and the Veterans Computer Project, call 847-782-4219. That's 847-782-4219.
The Cemetery Ministry is a core ministry of our Catholic faith tied to the corporal works of mercy. It's comforting to know that our Catholic cemeteries are caring for the remains of our loved ones awaiting the resurrection. There are 44 Archdiocese of Chicago Catholic cemeteries willing to help you in your time of loss. Call 708-449-6100 or visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org. Catholic Cemeteries, serving the Catholic community since 1837.
Throughout our nation and our world, people of all faiths have recently been joining fervently in all kinds of prayer. They have found that coming together in prayer is a source of comfort and strength. In this spirit of unity, the Archdiocese of Chicago has introduced a call to prayer, a telephone line dedicated to prayer. If you would like to join with another person in prayer, call 312-741-3388. This line is staffed from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily with parishioners from across the Archdiocese of Chicago. These volunteers are here to listen to you, offer support, and pray with you. A call to prayer includes a 24-hour voicemail and email options as well. Experience this wonderful opportunity to join with people just like you who trust in the power of prayer. That phone number again is 312-741-3388. Let's pray together today.
We're back, WNDZ, 7:50 a.m. on your dial. Catholic Chicago, back with Father Greg Sakowicz, who's been running around the studio, like just to show everybody his new hip here.
On my left leg, hopping.
And we're with Deacon Kevin McCarthy, Walter Hidalgo, talking about the Maryknoll missionaries. You had mentioned early on, Kevin, that you have candidates for ministry, priests, brothers, and sisters studying at CTU. How does the vocation picture look for the Maryknolls?
Actually, things have, I'd say in the last few years, have become much more positive for us. We now accept international candidates, but only from the places where Maryknoll works in other countries, and they have to be known, to local Maryknollers there. So we have a number of men in formation now from Kenya. We have someone from Singapore, obviously, as well as candidates from the United States.
So do you have seminary or formation houses in those countries, or does everybody come here?
Everybody comes here. We have like a pre-formation house in Nairobi, Kenya, but everyone comes here to do, theology and for some also philosophy.
But they also become religious brothers, correct?
Right. We have Maryknoll brothers.
Maryknoll brothers and religious sisters.
Right. Right. And we also have Maryknoll lay missioners who...
Now, say more about that.
Yeah. So Maryknoll lay missioners, if you know the language of the country where you're going to serve, it's a 2.5-year commitment. If you don't, it's a 3.5-year commitment. But they come to Maryknoll, New York for 10 weeks of formation before they're sent to the country, and then some, then go and to study the language first and then enter into the mission work. But we have some Maryknoll lay missioners who have served literally 35 years. They just keep renewing their contracts.
In a particular country, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Others just come and, do the, 2 or 3 years. But we have a number who have, served many, many years with us as lay missioners.
So if Tom Jones or Mary Smith were interested in becoming a lay missionary, they would contact you and study and then go to a particular country for 2.5 or 3.5 years.
Right. Yeah.
That's amazing. And but like you say, many have renewed up to 35 years.
Yeah, it's really been quite a commitment. And the thing I want to emphasize, too, is, to be a missionary, by virtue of our baptism, we're all missionaries.
Mm-hmm.
So we think of, the missionaries are the priests, the brothers, or the sisters, or these lay people, special lay people. But it's by virtue of our baptism that we all become missionaries. And as Pope Francis says, anybody who knows the love of Jesus, right, you don't need a fancy degree or anything. You know the love of Jesus, then you go out and spread that love. So that's part of, the message that we, Walter and I, teach here in the United States, too. This is, mission isn't, Pope Francis uses the word missionary disciples. We're all missionary disciples. And as a deacon, I say the last words at Mass. The Mass is ended. Go, love, and serve.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't understand they're sent out in mission,
To
wherever they live.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to go back a little bit to a word that Walter used that reminded me of our son, who's a millennial, remix. You said we have to remix. Do you remember that, Walter, that you used that word? That's probably part of how you see the future for Maryknoll. What do you see in terms of this millennial population and their commitment to service, to ministry? What are you seeing?
Yeah, wow, excellent question. Well, I see a lot, but let me speak on Maryknoll specifically. We wanted to be more proactive than reactive. We know that Mary Press kind of did some research and work on the millennials who left the church, but we did our due diligence and we started a young adult empowerment group based in 5 different regions, New York, the East Coast being one of them, to try to meet them where they are, and especially now since church is looking a little different because of the obvious reasons. How do we continue to cultivate that demographic? So a lot of them are really looking, despite the lack of attendance. There's a high rate of seeking and searching. And there's a lot of tools at arm's length. Of course, the internet being one, and that has its pros and cons, but we're definitely starting to see a sense of searching and seeking. And with the high rates of kind of depression, anger, suicide among youth and young adults, it's better now more than ever to kind of remind them that they do have a mission and a purpose in this life, starting through their baptism.
I think what Walter just said, that I'm finding many young people are finding the ways of the world don't cut it. That there's something more that they're searching for in the best sense of the word, to be connected like with Maryknoll, because I always tell people the more you give life away, the more you receive. That all is gift, give it away, but the more you give away, the more you actually get. We need to bring the program to a close, but again, Kevin, give us an email address and phone number. For anybody interested to learn more about Maryknoll mission work, what are the number and the email?
Yeah, thank you, Father Greg. It's been a pleasure to be with you this morning. K. McCarthy at maryknoll.org. And then 413-374-3861.
Want to thank you Go ahead, Kevin.
I'll expect to be flooded with emails and calls.
Exactly, starting in about 5 minutes. Want to thank in a very special way Deacon Kevin McCarthy, team leader, teacher, catechist, outreach program, Walter Hidalgo, mission education specialist, promoter, all working with Maryknoll Fathers and Brothers. Kevin and Walter, it's been a joy having you on the program. You're articulate. You speak from the heart. Keep up the great work you do. You're listening to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ, 750 AM. 312-255-8408. Father Greg Sakowicz, Mark Teresi. The time in Chicago is exactly 8:29. Stay with us. We'll be back in a moment, and do not touch that dial.
Catholic Charities After Supper Visions program offers guests of our Tuesday night supper the opportunity to learn the art of photography. These talented guests, who are often experiencing homelessness, are offered disposable digital cameras, and they work with volunteer professional photographers to learn the basics of taking photos. Then the artists go out and capture images on film of anything they find to be beautiful or interesting in the world. Their photos are amazing. Visit AfterSupperVisions.com to learn more about the artists and their artwork. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn too. At After Supper Visions, we are developing film, talent, and hope. It has been inspiring to see how individuals, families, and communities have found ways to help one another throughout 2020. At Catholic Charities, we usually have 35 to 40 events a year where we gather and enjoy time together in support of important programs and services, while raising critical funds that allow us to respond to the growing number of people who are in need of the most basic necessities in life. Many of our events are now virtual. If you would like to be a sponsor for one of these events, please call 312-948-6864. That's 312-948-6864. Also, visit us at CatholicCharities.net/events and follow us on social media too. We so look forward to when we can resume our events in person and reconnect with our friends and partners throughout Chicagoland. For now, please consider donating to Catholic Charities so our vital work can continue. Thousands of people in Chicago count on Catholic Charities every day. Please help us help them today. Learn more at CatholicCharities.net.
You're listening to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM. Every Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., the Archdiocese of Chicago presents programming about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Thanks for letting us be part of your morning. Now again, Catholic Chicago.
Welcome back to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM. The time in Chicago is 8:32 on this cold Thursday morning in Chicago. But you know, Mark, it's been a very mild winter.
Oh.
November was a breeze.
This
December
little bit
had
of
2
snow,
cold days.
when we were growing up,
Oh,
nobody made a big deal about this kind of snow.
no. All we did as a kid was shovel and have snowball fights. And but this has been nothing. And also you think about this. Next Monday is February. Made it through November, December, January. It's been mild.
Can I tell you one cute story?
Sure.
About the snow. So we have neighbors on our 3rd floor, and little Mira, who's about 4.5, was making a snowman in the front yard. We live on the 1st floor. And her mom said, Mira, why are you putting the eyes and the nose and the mouth facing the building? It should be facing out so people can see it. And she said, no, I want Mary to see it, my wife. I want Mary to see the snowman when she wakes up in the morning.
Wow.
I thought, how cute is that?
Now that is 4.5 years old.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
By the way, we are social distancing here on Catholic Chicago. Tremendous program lined up here, second half, 312-255-8408. Deacon Tom Lambert.
Yes, how are you?
Good morning. Who is co-chair, Archdiocesan Commission on Mental Illness, and Deacon Al Sedivy, member, Archdiocesan Commission on Mental Illness.
Morning.
Welcome. Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Al. How are you?
We're good. I'm good.
Now, Al, what parish you belong to?
St. Mary of the Annunciation up in Mundelein.
With Jerry Jacobs,
sure.
Father Jerry Jacobs, huh?
Yep. I've known Father Jerry for many, many years.
One of my students, when I was dean of students at the college
In
seminary.
fact, Tom, you were ordained a deacon in what year?
1983.
And how about you, Al?
93 for me.
93. Oh, got two vets here, 2 veterans. And it, now, I know, Tom, you've been doing this work for years for mental illness awareness.
Yes.
And maybe give us, with the work you do, how did you get involved with this and what year was it?
Well, my wife and I got involved back in the late 1980s. Our oldest daughter has a mental illness, and so we were looking for resources, and we found that there when we looked to the Catholic Church in terms of resources, there weren't any. So we got involved in NAMI, and I later became the state president of the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And they said, you're a deacon, get the churches involved. And so what we have done over the years with Al and others is develop resources and workshops and parish presentations on pastoral care of people with mental illness and their families. So it's been a long journey and a wonderful journey.
Well, you have made a tremendous difference. And Al, how did you get involved?
It started with my diaconate training, and one of the things the deacons have to do, I think it's at the end of their second year, is do some field work. And so I volunteered to go to Chicago Reed Mental Hospital. That's the old Dunning, up around Oak Park and Northwest Highway. And I did 5 or 6 weeks there and found it to be a very rewarding experience. And so after I was ordained, the chaplain there called me and said, you did a good job while you were in training. We'd like to have you come back. So I did, and I worked there on his staff for about 20 years.
Wow. How did you folks connect?
Well, we've been on the commission together. I knew of Al's work, and my wife and I and others did training in the diaconate in the formation program for about 10 years, offering a workshop to all the deacons, and Al and some of the folks going through that at the time, we got to meet them, and then, he's been part of the commission for all these years.
Now, I have to share this. There is such a stigma to this day regarding mental illness. I remember when I was a boy, you'd always hear in a very negative way, oh, we're going to send you to Elgin, we're going to send you to Dunning, you're going to throw the key away type of thing for people. And, you grow up with this mentality of thinking that mental illness is something so awful, but there's such a stigma attached to it. Don't tell people you've suffered from depression or you're on medication for depression, whatever. Maybe I'm wrong, but do you find, Tom and Al, there's still that stigma connected with mental illness, or is that been changing?
It's been improving over the years. Like most things, when people make fun of something, it's because they don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And stigma with mental illness, many people believe that mental illness was the result of some weakness in their personality, and that's obviously not the case at all. And so many of our programs have been trying to break down this stigma and make people aware of what mental illness is. And we tell, people, you have to educate your kids to end this stigma. You wouldn't make fun of someone who has a physical disability, and just like you wouldn't do that, you don't make fun of people who have a mental disability either.
Now, so many families are dealing with someone who is suffering
absolutely
from mental illness. How do you move someone, hopefully, toward a diagnosis so they can get help?
Well, that is one of the difficult ones, is helping people to well, first of all, I think what happens is if we talk about in parishes what mental illness is and take away the fear factor like Al was talking about, and that we create a safe place for people to talk about the illness, then it makes it easier. One of the reasons the American Psychiatric Association, so on, will say that the reason people don't get help is the stigma. So that if you make it, well, this is not, something only you are going through, it's something that a lot of people are going through, and a lot of people are getting help. So you point to the success stories where people have been helped. And I think if we've learned anything over the past year with COVID is that we're all on that spectrum somewhere, with anxiety and depression, and we go up and down. And so some people suffer, the other end of that, or the far end of it. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing that is so unusual, is that we all go through it to some degree, and it's better to obviously get help for that earlier
Tom,
than later.
You hit it right on the head. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
No.
That's a key phrase. Mark, take us to break.
Right. WNDZ, 750 AM on your dial, Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408. We'll continue our conversation with Deacon Tom, Deacon Al, about how we can look as a church on helping the healing of mental illness and how families can cope, how families can be strong, how families can forgive, and how families can move forward in faith. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Catholic Charities staff members work every day to end poverty and homelessness. We do this on a one-to-one basis with anyone who asks for help. We also work with organizations who study these issues across our city, state, and nation. The Wilson Sheehan Lab for Economic Opportunities, or LEO, at the University of Notre Dame is one of these research centers. Through our partnership with LEO, Catholic Charities has gained valuable insights into scientific evaluation methods that determine the most effective interventions to help people avoid poverty and homelessness. Along with our experience and compassion, trusted research is helping Catholic Charities offer hope and so much more to anyone in need. For more information, visit CatholicCharities.net.
The Word Made Clear is exactly what its name implies. It's an easy-to-understand explanation of the Word of God, the Gospel. Hello, I'm Father James McElhone, Director of Biblical Formation for the Archdiocese of Chicago. I'd like to invite you to take our free online Bible study program by going to thewordmadeclear.org. Our website offers an audio-based guide to the Gospels of Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. Listen to my lectures and follow along with the handouts provided. There are even discussion guides. You can also explore the biblical roots of the Mass. And there are links to a wide variety of biblical sources that will benefit both teachers and students of the sacred scriptures. Just go to wordmadeclear.org to experience our free online Bible study program. Again, it's free at wordmadeclear.org. It's the Word of God. Enjoy.
There is so much waiting for you at Catholic Charities Senior Services. We offer programs and services to help make the most of every day. Friendships and fun are guaranteed at our drop-in senior centers. Our adult daycare centers offer enjoyment and greater supervision to seniors who need it, while their caregivers get a break. Holy Family Villa provides a beautiful, safe environment for seniors looking for short or long-term residential facility. And we offer assistance with senior benefits, care coordination, congregate and home-delivered meals, hospital transition, and much more. For more than 100 years, we have accompanied seniors through every transition in their lives, and we are here for you now. Catholic Charities is a name and an agency you can trust. Call Senior Services today at 312-655-7700. That's 312-655-7700.
We're back, WNDZ, 750 AM on your dial, Catholic Chicago. Father Greg Sakowicz here. Mark Teresi assisting him as his assistant.
Mark, look it over through the glass there. Look at Michael May.
I know.
Look at that cool cap.
He looks like an Irish.
Are you going golfing, Michael? I like that little cap you're wearing. That's kind of cool.
Well, we're talking about.
Did you lose a bet?
We digress just a little bit. We're talking about a serious topic here. But I think it's a topic, as we talk about mental illness awareness, I think we're talking about it and how can the church respond in terms of pastoral ministry. It's as important a ministry as any ministry we would have in the church, because many people suffer through mental illness. What is mental illness, guys?
Well, let me say first what it's not. It's not a cognitive disability. What it is an illness of the brain, and that's not surprising. The brain is the most complicated organ that we have in our body, so it can go awry just like any other organ in the body. There's different types. Anxiety disorders is probably the most common. And then there are some more serious types. Some could even be chronic, and that would be like schizophrenia, bipolar, which is manic depression, and then severe depression. And these can be chronic. Many disorders are short-term. In any given year, one in four people can be affected by a mental illness. And these could just be anxiety disorders like we talked about with COVID. It could be mild depression, grief over the loss of a loved one. So there's many common types that can be helped with therapy and some medication for a short period of time. The chronic disorders are obviously much more serious, and that is about 4% of the population, and these usually require long-term counseling and sometimes a lifetime of medicine. And these are much more serious, but again, it's a small part of the population.
Now, then along those lines, Tom, first line number is 312-255-8408, 312-255-8408. If a listener has a question regarding mental illness, now is the time to call. Tom, since last March 14th, we've been dealing with COVID-19. Stay at home. Things were shut down totally, including the church, from March 14th until June 15th. They opened up a bit in the summertime. Got tough again in the fall, winter. Here we are now approaching February, almost 11 months later. We're still battling COVID-19. Are you finding the stress level higher than ever among people because of COVID-19?
Yes, definitely. I think that is for all the reasons you just mentioned. You know, that we're not in our normal routines. We're not able to get out and maybe go to a restaurant or go to, like, I miss going down to the art museum and things like that. So I think there are steps you can take, and one of the things in terms of the church, like we've got now we're once a month have a monthly prayer where we use Lectio Divina, and we do that using Zoom. I mean, I never heard of Zoom a year ago, and now we're doing it all the time.
I thought Zoom meant a fast car.
Yeah, right. So we have this monthly meeting that anybody can tune into, and we pray together and connect together. And that's one of the biggest healing things that we do is connect with each other. So I think, there's what I recommend for people who are going through, some of the anxiety and so on with the COVID is that to first recognize that, our mind, our body, and spirit are all connected, and we are spiritual people at the root, at the heart, especially with our Catholic faith. That so the anxiety can result in muscle ache or other things. If you're feeling depressed, you may not feel close to God. So it's connecting with others. So we do morning prayer, the meditation on. We have a each day prayer on our website that people can use, and then say, what am I grateful for? What are the blessings I've experienced? I think my wife and I, one of the things we often say is that this summer we took long walks by the lake, and we saw these butterflies, monarch butterflies, that I hadn't seen since I was a kid, but we would stand there and stare at them. So it's what are we learning about ourselves during this time? What are the positives? And things like that.
And they were always there, those butterflies.
Exactly, exactly. But now maybe we have this, I don't wish the COVID was here, but, maybe there's an opportunity there. There's always a two edges to the sword, right? So maybe there's an opportunity there to understand that we've been at such a fast pace. It's time to slow down and enjoy some of the things
and make some changes in our lives.
Right, yeah, exactly. And how can I help others? Acts of compassion, calling somebody who we may know. That's going to be helpful for us to do, and it's going to be helpful for the person we're doing. The other thing I'd like to say is, what makes you laugh? What brings joy to you? What brings a smile to your face? And
the
maybe
Chicago Bears.
Make you laugh.
We laugh.
For some that may not bring a smile to your face, though. But I know somebody who watches the old I Love Lucy reruns. You know, so there's things I think we can do that take positive steps. But we do have programs.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we take a little break, and our next segment, we'll talk about those programs, because the question I want to ask in our next section is, Father Greg and myself, we're at Holy Name Cathedral. How do we help our parishioners during this time? Okay, so we'll take a little break. WNDZ 750 AM Catholic Chicago with Deacon Tom, Deacon Al. We're talking about mental illness awareness and ministry. How can we minister to our folks as they experience either mental illness or even just the remnants of being suffering through the COVID
times?
Yeah, so we'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
It's a new year. Many of us are making goals, trying to stay healthy, and planning for ways to make the most of every day during and after the pandemic. At Catholic Charities, we continue to meet people who are struggling to meet their basic needs, like housing, food, and stability in their lives. In these challenging times, the face of need is your neighbor, and the face of hope is you. Imagine how the world would look if we all saw each other as neighbors. Learn more at CatholicCharities.net.
Hello, I'm Cardinal Blaise Supich. I got my COVID-19 vaccination, and you should too. It took just a few seconds and was painless. The Food and Drug Administration determined the new vaccines are safe and effective, and the Holy See, as well as the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, has concluded getting the COVID-19 vaccine is an act of love of our neighbor and part of our moral responsibility for the common good. We have lived with the pandemic for many months, and I know we're all getting tired of it. Vaccination is one of the most important ways you can protect your health and the lives of those you love and help bring the pandemic under control. When it is your turn, I urge you to be vaccinated. And remember to do your part by wearing a mask, washing your hands, and watching your distance. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Catholic Charities' 20th Annual Divine Affair will be held on Saturday, January 30th, as a very special virtual event. Fantastic packages are available to make your in-home participation incredibly festive and memorable. In past years, over 400 guests have come together to sample elegant wines and the latest craft beers from over 90 vintners and brewers from around the world. Enticing raffles and special guests will help to make this 20th annual celebration extraordinary. Proceeds of Divine Affair go to Catholic Charities' self-sufficiency programs that have helped thousands of individuals gain their confidence and start on a new path towards independence. Join us for this fabulous winter event. For more information, go to CatholicCharities.net or call 847-814-3839. That's 847-814-3839. We look forward to seeing you on January 30th. Cheers!
We're back at WNDZ, Catholic Chicago. Father Greg Sakowicz, Mark Teresi here. We're speaking with Deacon Tom, Lambert, Deacon Al Sedivy.
And we are live streaming.
We are with our
social
mask,
distancing.
with our mask on. So good to have Father Greg back in the studio.
Great to be back.
He's actually looking good. He looks healthier than he did when he left for the surgery.
Thank God I'm not limping anymore.
Yeah.
So it looked like Chester from Gunsmoke.
Deacon Al, when we were going on break, I was saying Father Greg and I are at Holy Name Cathedral. What can we do for our parishioners? Can you talk a little bit about that 5-week parish support program called mental illness with grace?
Sure. What we decided to do, a number of deacons got together and we put together this program, and we said we need to get the word out to make people more aware of what mental illness is, and to promote acceptance of people who have that illness, and then figure out a way to accompany folks who suffer with this illness. So we put together this 5-week program. It usually starts with a number of weeks of bulletin articles, and then usually a homily to get the assembly interested. And then we come in this 5-week program, and we cover the impact of mental illness on individuals and families. And then the second night, we try to get a mental health professional there, a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And then the third week, we talk about how to minister to people with mental illness and their families. The fourth week, we cover spirituality and mental illness. And then the fifth week, we have community resources. And many times we have speakers from NAMI and other area local hospitals that come and add and handle questions and so forth. We usually provide in the last night a comprehensive directory of services in the area, so that people know where they can go to when they need help.
It's very
so the
interesting.
idea is to get the word out so that people don't feel helpless when they encounter a family member who is experiencing a mental illness.
I think Al, you hit on something very important. That is, when an individual in a family suffers from mental illness, it does impact the entire family.
Sure it does.
It just in ways that sometimes so painful, so hard, can cause anger, can cause division, divisiveness, and yet there has to be somehow a unity to work together with that individual, because, I have sometimes dealt with people, the ones who are not suffering from illness, like, what's wrong with them? Don't they get it? Like, shake it off, everything will be fine. It doesn't work that way. If you break a leg, you've got to get it fixed. You've got to get a cast on it. You've got to have it taken care of. So, mental illness is sometimes like tackling fog. You can't see it. We just have another minute here. Real quickly, Tom, give us a phone number, a website for people to learn more about mental illness awareness in Chicago and through the Archdiocese.
Yeah, we have a website with a wealth of information, both information about the illnesses as well as the pastoral care. So it's www.miministry, MIMINISTRY.org. And
is there a phone number?
On there is the contact information. It's
Good.
The easiest thing is to, since we're all working out of our homes and everything, is to email, and then I can call people, or Al can call people, or whatever. So the email would be Lambert at I got to remember this now.
Got to do it quickly, Tom. We'll run out of time.
Yeah, OURLMC.org.
And Lambert's LAMBERT.
Yeah, at OURLMC.org.
I want to thank in a very special way Deacon Tom Lambert, co-chair, Archdiocesan Commission on Mental Illness, Deacon Al Sedivy, member, Archdiocesan Commission on Mental Illness. Al and Tom, you've been wonderful guests. I want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank you to co-host Mark Teresi. Great job. Great job. Enjoy being back. Great work of our engineer-producer, Vince Girasoli, Michael May, Javi Garcia. God bless to all. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay warm.
Join us every Monday through Friday at this time for Catholic Chicago. You can stream our programs live or listen to past programs by visiting our website, archchicago.org, and clicking on Radio TV. And please connect with Catholic Chicago on social media.